Welcome to all our viewers in another series of interviews, and welcome to Portugal and Bridge Premium International Immigration Experts. My name is Trafford Busuttil, co-founder and CEO. Today it is my pleasure to introduce to our viewers Mr. Daniel Caruana-Smith. A few words about our guest today. Daniel is a writer, a geographer, and an educator. But most important of all, he's also head of senior school of St. Edward's College, one of the oldest and most prestigious boys' schools in Malta. The school where I received my education in my formative years. So this interview is particularly very important to me because it brings back many memories from days gone by. Without further ado, good morning, Daniel.
Good morning.
Thank you for finding the time to join our interview today. And the first question that springs to mind is, what makes St. Edward's College one of the premier schools on the island?
Thank you for having me, Mr. Busuttil. What makes St. Edward's College stand out? As I'm sure you remember from your time here, we tend to focus on our mission statement, which hasn't changed. Our aim is to create exemplary citizens. We focus a lot on character formation, on the leadership skills, which we pass on to our students. And ultimately, we believe in preparing students for the future society and to contribute to the well-being of society. And I sincerely believe that is what sets us apart.
I can definitely vouch for that because I have lived that experience firsthand. And what I learned from St. Edward's and what I took with me to different parts of the world was exactly what you said, that leadership is ingrained or was ingrained and still ingrained in students at college. Another question is, obviously, a college comes with a long history. Maybe you could tell us a bit about the history of the college.
So it's as you said, a very long history and a very interesting one. So within a short period of time, I'll try and summarize. The college actually came into being thanks to the generosity of a certain Baroness Strickland in the 1920s, and was based on the British public school ideals and principles at the time. The governor of Malta, a certain Sir John Philip Duquesne, had managed to obtain the current building, which we still use, which was originally the military hospital on the island, known as the Cottonera Military Hospital. Along with it, they were also given the parade grounds, which adjoined the area. The land was leased to be used as a college back in 1929, and in October, around October of the same year, the college officially opened to a number of 29 students, which is a very big difference to the 700 odd students we have today. Over time, a number of additions were made as required. So there was investment in a middle school block, so an entirely new block to cater for younger students. The surgeons' quarters, at the time still part of the military hospital complex, were converted to a junior school to cater furthermore for the needs of our boys. An extension was built very well, comparatively recently in 1994, further extending the complex. And in 2007, we then opened our kindergarten, and following that, the nursery facilities. The kindergarten tended to have quite a bit of success, so we felt why not continue to expand on that. Apart from that, in 2013 and around 2014, we also added the sport facilities. So that includes an athletics track, football pitches, tennis courts, and the gymnasium, which, interestingly enough, the gym is located in what's called St. James Gate. It is part of the original Cottonera lines. So the bastions that surround the college also house the gym. It's quite an original setting.
Very original.
And my final sort of point in a very brief history of college, which I'm sure you remember this from your time here, Mr. Busuttil, I cannot leave out the chapel. We have a chapel in college, which was originally a powder magazine of the original Cotton Airlines. It is still standing. It is still in the original state, apart from a bit of restoration work recently. But that dates back to the 18th century, and it's quite something to behold.
So many memories. When you mentioned the surgeon quarters, I remember my first day at prep school many years ago, but it's still a very important day. And when you mentioned October, which is obviously St. Edward's Day, the foundation of college, it brings back so many memories. But you also anticipated my next question is with regards to how many campuses there are forming part of St. Edward's College, which you mentioned is the nursery school, the primary, middle, and senior school. But I believe also you have a sixth form whereby you do also the IB program. Maybe you could tell us a bit about this IB program, which is very interesting, especially to people living in Asia like myself.
No doubt. In terms of the actual college campus, yes, to add on to what we just discussed, we offer everything from the age of around 2 to 3, which would be the nursery. Our junior school caters for students between 3 to 10 years. The middle school goes from 11 to 13-year-olds, and the senior school goes from 13 to 16-year-olds. The IB, sixth form, which is the International Baccalaureate a progress program of studies that caters for students aged 16 and upwards. We do follow the IB program. We strongly believe in its ethos of creating active learners, not just the idea of learning something and putting it on a shelf, but applying the skills. We follow the exact system IB set out, which is the 6 subject groups and the core, of course, including theory of knowledge, creativity, activity, CAS, which is service, and of course an extended essay, which then helps prepare students for further education when eventually we'll get to thesis level. We also have our head of IB, Mr. Joel Ngalia. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us today, who is very much on point and in direct contact with IB with regards to anything that is required.
Also, from what I hear, because as a family, I think we have 3 or 4 generations which attended college. Actually, there is a stepson of my brother who's attending college now. So over the years, we've experienced different headmasters, different periods. But obviously, IB was something that was introduced after my days. And from what I hear and what I read is that students from St. Edward's do extremely well in the IB program and have also been admitted to many reputable international universities.
Yes, that is correct. We believe a lot in individual attention, which here we can offer because our numbers in the sixth form are relatively low compared to other sixth forms. And most of our teachers tend to mix between our middle, senior, and IB section as well, which is, in our experience, a big advantage because a student knows exactly who to go to. And we literally work as a team here to ensure the best for our boys and girls, of course, because IB is both boys and girls.
Mixed. And in Vietnam, where I am presently based, but even in China, where I was based before, an IB program or education in national school is extremely costly. We're talking about for middle school in the tune of €50,000 per year to educate one child. What would the fees be, approximate, just as an idea, possibly for middle school and IB program at college?
Okay, the fees vary depending on the section, but as a ballpark figure, we can say between a minimum of €600 up to €2,000 per term, as a general rule. And that would include any resources that are required. So photocopying is done in-house, papers, handouts, as well as tech support. So we are living in a digital era now, especially with the pandemic. So anything that is required, setting up Teams accounts, links, getting logins, we handle all of that in-house.
Which is obviously extremely, or let's put it, a better proposition than what we have to pay in Vietnam and what we used to pay in China. Now, with regards to college, in my days, we had a large boarding community. I had the pleasure of having Turkish students with me, Pakistani students, Indian students, Yugoslavs as well, which has helped me greatly because I was exposed from a very young age to different cultures and helped me gain a lot of EQ as well, because we're always talking about IQ, but I think St. Edward's works a lot on EQ, which I, when we go into the business world, I think that is the most fundamental quality that we should have. Is St. Edward's still offering boarding facilities to students?
Yes, our boarding sector is still active. We will accept students from the age of 11 upwards. So it's not limited to just the sixth form, even senior school students. If the need arises and they need to board with us, we can offer that. As you mentioned, the idea of emotional intelligence, not just the academics. We believe in that very, very much, and we try and help our students as much as possible in that regard as well. Of course, grades and marks are important, but we look at things more as a whole. We have a boarding manager who is on call almost all the time. We help our students as much as possible. We also engage with them in a number of activities. So if you are boarding here, I can assure you it's not going to be a boring stay. Activities that have been organized include snorkeling, canoeing, basketball, football, tennis, all on college campus. We have the grounds for it and the facilities. Abseiling's been organized a few times. We've done trips to Malta's sister island, Gozo, which is always fun. Barbecues, camping, go-karts were organized a few times. So we try and bring out that community spirit, which is going to help in terms of EQ as well.
I totally agree. Mr. Kawana-Smith, thank you very much for finding the time. Possibly, maybe if I could just add in one word about what I experienced at college as well, which would be very interesting for our viewers in Asia, is that another thing that was ingrained in me was readers are leaders. And to this very day, I try and read one book a week to keep myself abreast with a very much changing world. But the most important thing that I took or part of my baggage that was given to me by St. Edward's College was that they completed me as a person, not only from the traditional educational side, but as Mr. Kawana-Smith said, from the emotional intelligence side, which has definitely completed me as a person in the business world. Once again, Mr. Kawana-Smith, thank you so much for bringing back these very fond memories for me. And I see the passion that you have when you talk about your role as an educator at St. Edward's College.
Thank you very much. It's always an honor to meet an old Edwardian and to see that what we are doing is definitely creating leaders in our world and the future world. It is something, yes, that gives us a lot of pride in our work. So thank you very much for this opportunity, Mr. Busuttil. We sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Kawana-Smith, and hopefully one day I will revisit my roots, as they say, because one thing that I think Edwardians have is that we feel part of a community, as you said. My group or the students that were at St. Edward's together 30 plus years ago, we still meet up on a regular basis. We still meet our old teachers, such as Mr. Sultana, Mr. Mark, Mr. Borch. We still meet up together, and the community is student and teacher together, which is, I think, something extremely difficult to find in any educational institution worldwide. And this I say it hand on heart. Once again, thank you very, very much for your time. It was a great pleasure talking with you. And I see that the parents that entrust their children to your leadership have entrusted it to a person who's doing an excellent job with their with their children. Apologies.
Thank you very much, Mr. Busuttil.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure.
Same here.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.